What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today we're going to be looking at how to rank up the fastest in Black Ops 4 multiplayer. Keep in mind this video is focused 100% on the multiplayer aspect of it. We're not looking at Blackout in this one. I will do a separate video talking about how to rank up fast in Blackout. That should be coming relatively soon. But when it comes to multiplayer, Enya and I did a bunch of testing. We found out which modes are going to be best, as well as just the general strategy that you can use to rank up the fastest in this game. So first up, obviously, gotta mention double XP. If you can get your hands on some double XP codes somewhere, I know Monster Energy does some sort of promotion with that, then of course double XP is going to help you a ton with ranking up faster, but you don't necessarily need double XP in order to rank up relatively quickly in this game. Now before we get into game modes, I wanted to get into the biggest tip that I have for ranking up fast, and this goes for pretty much any Call of Duty game. This is simply variety. Using a variety of weapons and perks and specialists and score streaks even to an extent is very, very important for ranking up fast because there are challenges for pretty much anything. Doesn't matter what you're using, there is likely a challenge for it. And these challenges really add up quickly over time, especially the weapon challenges. This is something that I highly encourage you guys to do, is change it up, mix it up with your guns, and use a wide variety of weapons. I see a lot of people, they find their go-to gun and they just kind of stick to it, and that's all they tend to use. And once they unlock all the attachments for it, once they get all the camos for it, they're not earning any extra challenge progress towards that gun, and they could easily be earning tons and tons of XP if they had just mixed it up and used other weapons. Now, one thing I will mention with weapons is if you're trying to rank up the absolute fastest you possibly can, yes, variety is good, but not if you're sacrificing your ability to actually do decent in the game. So just as an example, I'm not the greatest with sniper rifles. I can kind of hold my own, but when I compare a game with me playing with a sniper rifle versus a game with me playing with any one of the SMGs or assault rifles or LMGs or even tactical rifles, I'm going to do significantly better with those other guns. And as a result, it's not really worth it for me to use sniper rifles too often just for those challenges that I'll be getting, because that challenge XP that I get through those sniper rifles isn't going to make up for all of the lost kills and potential that I had in that match. So don't just stick to the same 1 to 3 guns, like try to mix it up, stretch your comfort zone a little bit, but at the same time, if it's a weapon that you just absolutely can't handle and you do terrible with every time, you're probably better off leaving that one to the side. Now getting into a bit more specifics here, when you're using those weapons, it's actually really important to also focus on headshots. Now don't go too far out of your way to go for these headshots. Like if it means that you're going to be losing a lot more gunfights, then probably avoid going for a headshot in those situations. But if you have the opportunity, definitely go for that headshot, because as you unlock camos in this game, you also get challenges for every camo that you unlock. And this adds up very, very quickly as you're using guns, and you might as well be doing it if you have the opportunity to. So that pretty much covers it for guns. Now let's move on to specialists. With specialists, Enya and I did a bunch of data collection on the game modes as well as the specialists we were using, and it turned out that we didn't really notice much difference overall in the specialists that you use when it comes to XP. Now some specialists are much better at earning score than others. Crash, for instance, earns a ton of score if used properly, but score does not equal XP. So when you get score in the game towards your score streaks, that does not necessarily translate into XP for you at the end of the game. And what we found is it didn't really matter which specialist you used, and therefore, once again, it's probably best for you to use variety or use the set of specialists that you're most comfortable with and that you can excel with the most. As for score streaks, once again, there's tons of challenges out there for score streaks and using a wide variety of score streaks, so it is nice to mix it up a little bit, but one score streak I would highly recommend keeping on your class at all times if you're trying to rank up fast is the UAV. Now, the simple reason for this is the UAV does bring in extra XP just for calling it in and using it, and you can earn it relatively quickly because it's a low streak, so you can earn it very often, and every time you earn it, you're earning XP. And also, in addition to that, it's helping you get kills with your gun, which adds to your overall XP, and it's helping your team overall. And when you're helping your team out, this is great because you get bonus XP at the end of the game if you win the match. So UAV should absolutely be on your class 100% of the time if you are trying to rank up as fast as possible in this game. As for the other ones, I also tend to like using counter UAV because it's kind of a similar story to the UAV, but it's mainly that third streak that I like to keep open. I like to just mix that up, pop it on different score streaks, and just mess around with that and complete various challenges as I go through with that third streak. Speaking of challenges, Black Ops 4 actually has an excellent menu system when it comes to the challenges. If you go to the challenge tab and you look towards the bottom and click right there, you'll actually see the 10 challenges that you are nearest to completion on. This allows you to track your challenges a lot more effectively, and if you're trying to rank up as fast as possible, I'd highly encourage you to keep an eye on this page. This allows you to look at a challenge, and if you see that you're really close to one, then you can do what needs to be done to get that challenge finished as soon as possible. And this will constantly be refreshing as you keep completing challenges. More challenges will pop up. And when it comes to these challenges, I tend to focus on the challenges that are a bit more on the grindy side. So this is the kind of challenge where you have to get a certain number of kills with a weapon, or a certain number of headshots, or you have to get a certain amount of wins in a particular game mode, for instance. I like focusing on those ones because it's kind of a long-term goal, and it's something that just happens in the background as you play. And you don't really have to go out of your way to try and do that. You don't have to go out of your way and potentially have a really bad game with low XP earned in order to try and complete that challenge. So always keep an eye on those challenges. Make sure you're tracking the ones that you're getting nearest to completion to, and you'll be able to rank up pretty quickly by doing that. Now, another tip I have for you guys for ranking up as fast as possible in multiplayer, and I kind of hinted at this earlier, this is try to maximize the number of wins that you get in-game. And how do you do this? You play with parties. So play with people that you are comfortable with and that you feel are decent and will help the team and that you feel that you can get wins with. Because every time you get a win, you will get a match bonus for this, which is just bonus XP, which will really help, especially in the long run. If you're winning a lot more games than you're losing, you're going to be ranking up noticeably faster. So finally, let's get into game modes, because I know a lot of you guys are here just looking for what is the best game mode to play if you want to maximize your XP and rank up the fastest in Black Ops 4. And this isn't quite a simple answer, so I want to just kind of walk you through what we did here. We actually played every single one of the game modes for several games, and both Enya and I collected our total XP gains per game as well as the length of that game. This allows us to calculate the average XP per minute, which is much more important because some games will last a lot longer than others, like Domination, for instance, seems to last the longest on average. And therefore, at the end of the game, you'll see that you earn a ton of XP in Domination compared to some of the other modes, but when you factor in the time played, you are playing it for longer, and therefore your XP per minute might not be quite as good as it initially seemed. Now again, just a quick reminder, score does not equal XP here, so for those of you guys that are just looking at the scoreboard at the end of the game, that does not necessarily equate to XP, so don't use that to judge how much XP you get within a game. Also, I do want to point out that we did account for challenges as well, so we actually subtracted the XP that we got from challenges within the game mode because that wouldn't be representative. If we happen to complete a bunch of challenges in one game while we're playing a particular mode, that would skew the results. So we did subtract any XP that we earned from challenges throughout that game, and we were just looking at the raw XP gains from that mode. So having a look at our combined results here for all of the game modes that we currently have access to in the game, Search and Destroy by far had the best XP per minute, but keep in mind we were actually playing quite well in our Search and Destroy games, and if you're not confident in Search and Destroy, you're not going to get very good XP because you're going to spend most of your time sitting there spectating other people playing the game if you end up dying really early on in most rounds. So if you can hold your own in Search and Destroy, it is the best mode for ranking up quickly when it comes to raw XP, but at the same time you have to think about challenge progress at this point. Challenges tend to advance slower in Search and Destroy because there are fewer kills to go around within a match. So if you're working on weapon challenges, for instance, which like I said, there's so much weapon challenge XP that you can get as you grind through various weapons, those weapons are going to level up slower in Search and Destroy because you're getting fewer kills per match with them. So at the end of the day, even if you're doing fairly well in Search and Destroy, that does kind of bring it back in line with the other modes. But if we're just looking at raw XP, S&D is by far the best mode for earning XP. Aside from that, the rest of the modes are pretty comparable when it comes to XP. I was quite surprised here. There isn't really much as far as like really standout modes on either end of the spectrum, but Control, Domination, Free-for-all, and Kill Confirm tend to be quite good for XP. And then I would say towards the bottom of the list, TDM, Heist, and surprisingly Hardpoint are not that great for XP gains. I was extremely surprised to see Hardpoint at the bottom because traditionally, Hardpoint has been an excellent mode for getting a lot of XP. And when you play Hardpoints as well, you tend to see a lot of score at the end of the game, but even when we were having solid matches of Hardpoint, the XP gains were a little bit on the disappointing side. Now that's not to say that you should never play TDM, Heist, or Hardpoint if you're trying to rank up quickly, because like I said, variety is important. There are plenty of challenges out there and plenty of XP for challenges for playing different modes. I would just say you probably don't want to focus too much of your attention within those modes if your main goal is to rank up as fast as possible. So for me at least, the modes that I'm going to be playing the most when I'm trying to rank up as fast as possible are going to be Control and Domination. With these, there are plenty of kills to go around, and the more kills you get with your various weapons as you're ranking them up, the faster you're going to rank those weapons up, the more challenges you're going to complete. And also, they both give pretty solid raw XP per game, and therefore I feel like it's just the best balance in those modes. Plus, I just enjoy playing those modes. Control plays very, very well in this game, in my opinion, and I have a ton of fun with it, and so does Domination. And with that, we're going to wrap up today's video on the fastest way to rank up in Black Ops 4. I'd like to know in the comment section below, is there anything else you'd add to this list? Any other tips that you guys have for people to help them rank up faster in this game? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.
Yeah.